Welcome back to Animal X. All over the world there are reports of lake monsters, but none are as prevalent as those in North America. One local authority has even legislated to protect whatever it is that's out there. But where could they be hiding and what do they look like? We went on the hunt for the creatures lurking in the depths.
The inviting waters of North America's lakes may look benign, but they hold the key to a mystery. A mountain of sightings suggests that small populations of unknown creatures inhabit as many as 90 lakes in Canada and the United States. There are indications that huge prehistoric reptiles or massive serpents are feeding and breeding below the surface.
It looked like a brontosaurus. That's all I could think of, with a long neck and the small head like that.
I said to my husband, we almost can hear them breathe. You know, when you don't hear the wind or the water, you hear whoosh, whoosh.
Animal X went to the border between Canada and the US to investigate the sightings of strange creatures at Lake Champlain and nearby Lake Memphremagog. 14 years ago, Happy Marsh was sitting on her balcony overlooking Lake Champlain when she noticed something unusual moving in the water just offshore. She used her binoculars to get a better look.
There, Mom, come quickly. I think Elsie's swimming around the barrels out there. Look. Wow, and there's another one. It looks like another one that's coming in from that direction. You can see the humps really clearly.
Happy Marsh has seen Elsie, or Champ as the monsters are known here, 4 times since the 60s. On one occasion, she watched a serpent-like creature swim by from the crowded decks of a ferry.
It was about between 15 and 20 feet long, Elsie was. She had humps that were about a foot and a half long. You couldn't see air through them because they were kind of coming out of the water. On the ferry boat, I did see a head, and it was swimming like a snake does, holding her head like this.
Reports of the monsters in the lake date back to 1609. The French explorer Samuel de Champlain, who gave his name to the lake, described seeing an animal that was serpent-like, about 20 foot long and as thick as a barrel. Early pioneers reported seeing strange creatures with long necks at nearby Lake Memphremagog.
In 1816, there were 4 sightings on this lake. At the same time, he said that the Indians would not bait in this lake because they were scared that the lake was inhabited by a monster.
Since then, hundreds of reports have surfaced, but the mysterious creatures of the deep water lakes remain elusive, rarely captured on film. A photograph taken at Lake Champlain in 1977 is one of the few exceptions. It shows the creature's long neck curved over a low, humped body. But the authenticity of the picture is hotly contested. Skeptics suggest that it's the fin of a whale. But the sightings of unexplained creatures continue. Angela Grover and her husband watched a dark creature in Lake Champlain this year.
Oh, I saw a long neck and a head and what appeared to be a hump of a back. We came back and we debated on whether or not to tell his mother, and we did, and they kind of laughed at us, but then his mother and his aunt wouldn't go out on the jet ski for a while because of they seen it.
A billboard in Port Henry, on the shores of Lake Champlain, lists some of the many people who claim they've seen Champ. The authorities have given further credibility to the tales of lake monsters by giving them protection at a state and local level.
There were some people threatening to shoot them if they ever saw them, to try to sell them and things like that. So the village board of trustees passed a resolution then to protect Champ along the shores of the village of Port Henry.
Researchers disagree on exactly what the lake monsters are. Some suggest that they're plesiosaurs, prehistoric reptiles left over from the Jurassic era, but the creatures of Lake Champlain are most commonly likened to serpents. Skeptics claim they're simply floating logs or figments of the imagination. Richard Smith has left the monsters spotters on the shore to find the truth. He's armed for the task with underwater video equipment and sonar.
You can see the bottom starting to fall off down below here. This is the bottom of the lake, of this drowned valley we're passing over. Many lakes around the world that at one time were arms of the sea, connected to the sea just after the glacial epoch, people claim that they see large unknown animals. And it's hypothetically possible that breeding populations of such animals came into these waters, they exploited the large stocks of fish as a food source, and then when the lakes closed off into the freshwater lakes we have now, populations remain.
Richard is looking for hard evidence of this. He's convinced that the creatures are at the top of the food chain, fish eaters, and to find the fish eaters, he has first to attract the fish. Then wait for the monsters to follow. Jacques Boisvert has been in pursuit of lake monsters for 20 years. He's collected more than 200 reports of sightings of unknown creatures in Lake Memphremagog, including this photograph. An enlarged extract shows a strange hump coming out of the water. Piles of testimonies, signatures, as well as drawings of giant otters, marine horses, and serpents add weight to the old Indian tales of monsters in the lake.
For instance, she saw something similar to that, and he saw something similar to that.
The accounts of strange humps appearing on the surface come from witnesses of all ages, including an 11-year-old girl.
This one here is very interesting because the drawing was made by a little girl, and the drawing was made about 15 minutes after that it did happen.
The owners of a store on Lake Memphremagog are among those who've added their names to the growing files.
Oh, I saw something sticking out of the water about that much. Black, round thing. I couldn't see if there was any eyes or ears or whatever, but that thing was going straight to us. Quite fast because it was removing quite a bit of water, you know. So I said to Mary, let's turn around and go. I want to see that, you know. She said, no way, no way. So.
Lucy Deliere was also startled by the appearance of two strange creatures while boating.
It looked a little bit like a head of a hippopotamus, but a little bit smaller. And my husband says a little bit like a crocodile or alligator, but the nose very smaller. And the color was like blue, black, blue, and the texture looked like a whale.
Are long-necked monsters lurking below the waters of this and many other lakes in North America? Can the hundreds of sightings be explained away as giant sturgeons or wild imagination? No one can say for sure. The search for an answer goes on above and below the surface of the water. But for now, the truth remains locked in the murky depths.
It's said there are stranger things in heaven and earth than we can think of. You've just seen some of them on Animal X.